This is Kevin Ashworth with Fighting Fear with Kevin Ashworth. Thank you for checking out my video. I do video blogs on anxiety, parenting, how to manage stress, exposure therapy, behavior therapy. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Thanks for checking me out. Today I want to do a video about how to find a good therapist. I've had a fair amount of emails from people asking if I can do remote therapy with them, and I'm absolutely flattered at the request, and at the same time, I'm only able to provide therapy to people that are in the state that I'm licensed, which happens to be Oregon and Washington. So with that said, I think it's important that people know how to find someone to help overcome their anxiety. So there's lots of kind of therapists out there, lots of kind of theoretical modalities. So we've got cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the type of therapist that I am, a heavy behavior therapist. And so we do exposure therapy, which is the gold standard treatment for anxiety. But people are misinformed about what therapy is. You know, we look at TV and we think about, the movies and how the therapy is depicted. And we've got this old Freudian psychoanalytic therapist, which there are people that adhere to psychoanalysis now. It's a very intense, rigorous training process to become a psychoanalyst. And then the therapy is quite different than what I would do as a CBT therapist. There's Gestalt therapy, and then there's person-centered therapy, Rogerian therapy. There's actually quite a lot of theoretical modalities. So this is important because if you suffer with an anxiety disorder, I would find a therapist that specializes in anxiety. And anxiety is the number one reason people seek mental health services. So somebody treating anxiety and specializing in anxiety are quite different. Specifically, I would ask if they're cognitive behavioral therapists, and then I would ask them to explain what that means to them. Some therapists are a little bit confused about what CBT is and think that it means just having a chat or having a conversation about your cognitions or your thoughts, and they don't do any behavior of the behavior therapy. And so that's a really important component to help people overcome their fear and behave differently. So I'd first find out, if they're a cognitive behavioral therapist, how they understand anxiety functions. So if you've seen any of my videos, I talk a lot about negative reinforcement and this kind of loop of reducing tolerance and not being able to manage triggers of anxiety, and that the treatment, the really effective treatment, is to build tolerance to that stuff. So ask them, how do they treat it, and how do they typically treat people? How many sessions do they typically work with individuals? This would give you an idea. There are a couple of national databases. One is Psychology Today, and if you go to Psychology Today and put in your zip code, you can search based on whether someone is a cognitive behavioral therapist or whether they take your insurance and kind of narrow it down. But therapy is really important that you find a good fit. So I would do a little therapy shopping. Most therapists are willing to give you a free 15-minute consultation, even by phone or in person or even email. Ask some questions. And then, you really want to see if it's a good fit. And so it has to be feasible. Don't find the best therapist in the world that you can only afford to see once a month. That just won't be helpful to you. And it has to be accessible. So even if someone's, 30 miles away and they're amazing at what they do and they've got great reviews, if you can't get to them, that's also not going to be helpful. So what's affordable? What's feasible? Who can you get to? Are they a good fit? And then some questions you're going to want to ask them is, just like I said, how do they go about treating people? And do they seem like they can explain the mechanism of change behind their anxiety? Do they understand that anxiety is a function of learning theory, and that they can help build tolerance to those things by removing safety behaviors and helping you avoid less? A red flag, in my opinion, would be that if they immediately just talk about layering more coping. So if they talk about helping you do things that are really good for you in times of stress, they may not be helpful in times of anxiety. And so things like self-care are really important, but not when you're overcoming anxiety. Lastly, the other database is the International OCD Foundation, the iocdf.org. Likely, if somebody's on this as a therapist, if they're on this database, they do exposure therapy. And so even if you're not suffering with OCD, I would still recommend seeking a therapist that pops up on the IOCDF Find a Therapist website, because they likely just are behavior therapists and cognitive behavior therapists or psychologists or social workers, and they understand most likely the fundamentals of doing CBT. So Psychology Today asks lots of questions. IOCDF, most people that profess to treat OCD properly know how to do behavior therapy for for other anxieties, PTSD, panic, generalized social anxiety, and those things. So good luck. It's a daunting process, but once you find the right fit, it's truly life-changing. So hang in there. If you have any specific questions about how to find a good therapist or fit, let me know. Kevin@nwanxiety.com. Check out our Facebook page, Northwest Anxiety Institute. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Thank you for the emails. I'm trying to get back to everybody as often as I can. Or if I'm not getting back to you, I'm trying to incorporate common themes and questions into my videos. So stay tuned, and I may be answering your question shortly. Thanks so much. Take care.